So I'm going to do a follow-up video to yesterday because there's still an immense amount of buzz that's going on about what is happening. And there have been some questions that have been brought to my attention. And I feel like I need to clarify a couple of things for people because there's a lot of confusion about what's going on. And so let's get into it. Okay, so the first topic I want to address today is the question I've gotten is what is happening with the feud between Wall Street and Main Street? Is that affecting or is that the stock market? The answer to both of those questions is no, it is not. So the feud that is happening between Wall Street and Main Street deals with a handful of stocks. Whereas the stock market itself, as what most people know it as, it's so enormous, it's not even funny. I mean, you're talking that all these different exchanges combined total, I mean, they're transacting trillions of dollars worth of trades in a day. And so what's happening over here in the feud is not affecting what the stock market is doing. Okay, so like yesterday, there was, of course, the feud was in full force yesterday. But the stock market was down, and a lot of people thought they were actually correlated, or that the feud was causing the markets to be down, and that is not correct. So the stock market was down because durable goods, those numbers came out and they were lower than where we wanted it to be, meaning that there was not high demand for durable goods, meaning consumers weren't buying. That means they're trying to save money, they're not feeling too confident. So consumer sentiment was also not as high as we would like. And so that pushed the markets down. And then, of course, today the markets were up and, for various reasons. And one of them being that the market got pushed yesterday. The prices were lower. People wanted to go back in, buy at a lower price. And so it helped to push the market up along with other news that pushed the market upward. But what happened with the stock market, it is not one and the same as what's happening with the feud between Wall Street and Main Street. So don't get those two confused, okay? Again, you're talking about a handful of stocks compared to the endless amounts of transactions and trades and different stocks that are being traded on the market. So not the same thing. So I just want to clarify that. The second topic I want to discuss is the feud itself. Okay, so what is a hedge fund? Basically, it is a hedge fund gets investors, and all these investors come in and they, give their money to the hedge fund to invest, and the hedge fund pools that money together, and then they invest it however they see fit. I mean, they can use whatever strategy they want. All the investors care is that they get returns. Okay. And hedge funds, compared to everything else in the finance industry, hedge funds have very, very little regulation. And this is a problem that I have with all the buzz about going after Reddit and trying to regulate that when hedge funds themselves are not regulated very highly at all. Case in point, so a lot of people forget, but Bernie Madoff, if you don't know who he is, go Google him. It'll blow you away. So Bernie Madoff, he actually had a hedge fund. It was the biggest and the largest Ponzi scheme in US history. It was a $65 billion Ponzi scheme that was disguised as a hedge fund. And the only reason that he was founded out was because the financial crisis happened. And so prior to that, there had been complaints against his fund to the SEC, but the SEC didn't bother to look into any of these complaints. And one of the reasons, there's various reasons, but one of the reasons that they didn't bother to look into it is because he was president of the NASDAQ in the past. And so everybody just naturally trusted him and, believed everything he said. And nobody took any of these complaints, I guess you could say, or red flags, seriously at all. And still, even after that Ponzi scheme, hedge funds are not anywhere near the level of regulation that anything else is in the finance industry. And so this is where I get really irked by the fact that they're saying, hey, the SEC and the government and and basically the mainstream media, they're like, hey, you need to regulate and punish the investors that were using Reddit as a communication device, that's not okay because they're manipulating stock. Really? Because what do you think the hedge funds were doing when they're shorting the stock? They're manipulating it. So both sides are manipulating the stock. They're just going about it two different ways. And the fact that Main Street has made money off of it, Wall Street is not happy. And I mean, you've had these hedge funds that have bailed out other hedge funds. Because they've taken huge losses. And one of the arguments that's being made against the investors, the individual investors, is that they, coordinated this manipulation of the stock. Again, really? Because there wasn't one hedge fund that shorted these stocks. There was a group of hedge funds that shorted these stocks. And so I get really upset with the fact and annoyed with the fact that they are saying that the individual investors need to be regulated when they're going to try to give, the hedge funds a pass. That is so hypocritical, and that's not okay. And so that was a lot of the buzz today. As you saw, if you were paying attention to anything, that, Robinhood had halted their trading. They would only allow you to sell these stocks, but they would not allow you to buy them. And I mean, there was so much going on, and none of it was okay. To restrict people's access, I mean, you're using a trading platform to trade. That's why you sign up for an account with a trading platform. And to restrict trading, what? That makes no sense. And to say, well, that's for the investors' good. No, it wasn't. It was trying to protect, other interests, and it was not the individual investors' interests. So, anyways, there's my 2 cents for the day. As always, if you guys have any comments or questions, put them in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button, and I will talk with you later.